Welcome to Larry's Library, and it's Sunday, so it's time for another Sunday Scan. Now, this is the series where I'm reading through my unread box of single-issue comics, and this week I'm back to Godzilla, Marvel's Godzilla from the late 70s, mid to late 70s, and I'm doing this issue right here. This is Godzilla number 19, and this is the second part of the storyline where Dum Dum Dugan and his S.H.I.E.L.D. minions use some of Henry Pym's gas to shrink Godzilla down to a more manageable size. So if you remember 2 weeks ago when I did issue 18, this is 19, they had lost Godzilla, a very short Godzilla, in New York, and they were running around the streets trying to find him. And he was battling rats, sewer rats, and all kinds of stuff, and it was awesome. Well, in this one, with this awesome cover, and this one is Herb Trimpe, inked by Bob Wyacek, and it's another great one. The lighting here especially is great, the way they do the lighting. And now in this cover, as you can see, it's fabulous. The color is awesome, and you've got Dum Dum grappling with this, what looks like about an 8-foot tall Godzilla, 8-ish foot tall maybe, I don't know. And you've got the one scientist guy, and yeah, and they're all grappling with him, and one guy's on his tail. They're not doing too good, though. It doesn't look like. Panic on the Pier is the name of this one, or the title on the blurb on the cover. And we get into this. The opening page is another great perspective shot, which Herb Trimpe is great at those. And it's a low camera angle. And so it's like the camera's sitting in the dirty street here. No, this book does not depict New York very, very nicely, that's for sure. But yeah, so we're looking up and we're seeing a Godzilla that has grown now. The effects of Hank Pym's gas is wearing off now, and Godzilla is slowly getting taller, slowly going back to his normal size. But he's doing it in spurts. He'll grow a little bit and then he'll stop. And for a number of minutes or hours, he won't grow anymore, and then he'll shoot up again. So it is slowly coming out of his system. And all these people looking for Godzilla have failed, except for, of course, Rob Tagaguchi, his friend. They are sort of buddies. They've bonded throughout all of this. And so Rob has found Godzilla on the sidewalk on the streets of New York, and he's talking to him, and Godzilla's sort of talking back by saying, "Graw." And so this one says, "With Dugan on the docks" is the name of this story. And of course, we got Herb Trimpe back penciling. More great inks by Dan Green. Great combo there. Doug Minch writing. Of course, he writes this entire series. And there are 24 issues of this series. So we're on 19. So we're coming up on the end. And I'll read some of this caption here. When young Rob Tagaguchi discovered Godzilla emerging from a New York City sewer drain 1 minute ago, the Leviathan, that's in quotes, stood 12 inches tall. But now, as the effects of Henry Pym's shrinking gas wear off in fits and starts, Godzilla has just grown to the same height as Rob himself. So, this is going to be a great one. And so on the second page of this, Rob is trying to reason with Godzilla and talk to him and explain to him that he's still his friend and he doesn't want to battle him. He just wants him to be safe. And he puts his hand on him and sort of strokes the side of Godzilla's head, not knowing if Godzilla's going to attack him or burn him or whatever. And Godzilla does not, and they walk off together. I'll do a scan of this page too. And you get to see them walking side by side down the sidewalk. And they're just about the same height. It's pretty cool. And then a bum, a wino, I guess, if you will, is drinking on the side of the road here. And he looks up and sees them, and he thinks he's hallucinating, so he throws down his booze. That's kind of funny. I'll have to scan that page, too. So they run from some cops. A policeman sees him. And Godzilla ends up burning through a fence so they can escape down an alley. And we cut back to the team looking for Godzilla and not finding him. One really funny sequence, which I will have to do scans of this also, is where some hoods in an alley somewhere are watching Rob, and they're planning on mugging him. They got knives. They're going to jump out and mug him. And in the shadows, which it's really cool because it doesn't show him do this, but it just shows after. Rob has found some old clothes and has disguised Godzilla. So Godzilla has actually got on what looks like maybe a trench coat, and he's got a hat on. It's awesome. It really reminds me of the Swamp Thing issue, and I don't remember the issue number, but it's before Alan Moore. It's in the original Bronze Age Swamp Thing. But Swamp Thing is wearing a trench coat and a hat, just like this, trying to disguise himself while he runs around the city. I can't remember why, but Batman's in that issue. You may remember it if you've read the Bronze Age Swamp Thing issues. But, yeah, so the thugs end up trying to mug him, and Godzilla throws off the trench coat and hat, and he ends up burning those guys. It's pretty great. And by that time, Rob has what looks like sort of a leash around Godzilla's neck, and he's trying to sort of keep him under control. It's not working, clearly. It's great. The small Godzilla is just such a pleasure, this storyline. It is fun. Eventually, Rob leads Godzilla back. He's trying to get him back to the helicarrier, which is docked, at the harbor. And by the time he gets back there, the rest of the team has given up looking for him, and they're lying in wait. And Dugan tries to shoot him with a tranq gun. That's a big failure. And right about that time, we have another growth spurt happen. And Godzilla starts getting taller again. The gas is slowly, in fits and starts, as they said in the narration, coming back. They're wearing off, rather. So he is growing. And so most of this issue is them just dealing with that, all of it really. And in a funny sequence, which I will do scans for sure, Dugan and some of the other SHIELD guys, they're battling, they're trying to grapple with this now 7 to 8 foot Godzilla, and he ends up using his flame breath. Dugan uses a trash can as a shield, very Captain America-ish. It's pretty cool, to avoid getting burned. And then he tries to joust Godzilla with a harpoon that's just lying on the ground there. I guess it's a harpoon. I'm not sure. I believe that's a harpoon. And he picks it up, and he runs at him, and he says, get my glasses. He says, all right, you blasted fire-belching dragon, get ready for a joust with Saint Dugan the Monster Slayer. And Godzilla's like, oh? Question mark. And of course, he easily evades that pitiful harpoon, breaks it in half. And Dugan manages to get one punch into the side of Godzilla's face. And then Godzilla literally bitch slaps him, just backhands him. It's great. Fantastic stuff. And Jones gets on Godzilla's back. Godzilla throws him off easily. And then they're just grappling back and forth. It's not going well for Dugan and his buddy Gabe Jones. It's not working out. Godzilla picks Gabe Jones up, throws him in the nasty water at one point, and then just pummels. The last page, he just pummels Dugan with his fist. It's great. And then he runs off into the city. Poor Rob is crying. He's like, come back, Godzilla, because now he's like alone in the city, and he notes that. And now he's of a size where people are going to easily see him. So he's really concerned for Godzilla's safety and well-being. And so on the blurb for next issue, it says, get ready for a night at the museum. And the Fantastic Four guests next issue. So that is going to be awesome. So if you want to see more of that, be sure to come back in a couple weeks for that. And next week, I'll do the next issue of Cobra. Yeah, I know you love Cobra. But yeah, my regular content is tomorrow. I have a new video every Monday tomorrow that usually do not feature single issues, usually. I'm not going to tell you what we got tomorrow. It's a little bit different. It's not a review. But anyway, that's coming up tomorrow. And I hope you like this kind of stuff. If you like this, please give me a big thumbs up. And subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you next time.